On the day we arrive in Sri Lanka, the waters of the Indian Ocean are calm. Sri Lanka means blessed island. After enduring years of civil war, and now the tsunami, people are beginning to wonder if they are cursed. On December 26th, less than 2 hours after a 9.3 earthquake in the Indian Ocean, a series of waves hit these shores. Amateur footage is being sold all over the country. Within 10 minutes, 31,000 people were dead and 250,000 were left without homes. The tsunami killed 31,000, but the bitter 22-year war has killed more than twice that amount. Many were innocent civilians. We came to Sri Lanka to see how people were dealing with the overlapping tragedies. We drive 10 hours through the heart of the island to the eastern province of Batticaloa. The Liberation Tigers of Tamil, or the Tamil Tigers, are by far the most ruthless rebel organization in Sri Lanka. They say the East is part of an independent homeland they've been fighting for since 1972. The eastern province we're going to is split between the Tamil Tigers and the Sinhalese government. As we enter the town of Batticaloa, we pass military checkpoints. Although the government controls the town, we also see a statue erected for a Tamil Tiger rebel who was gunned down by the government on this street. We arrived 3 weeks after the waves. 1 in 10 people were killed here. Almost everyone who lived along this stretch of coast is homeless. Though they've lived through sporadic fighting for 2 decades, they were not prepared for the shock of December 26th. Fishermen lost their boats and haven't gone back out to work. No one is eating fish these days because they're afraid the fish have fed on the corpses. The only place we see people fishing is in Batticaloa's protected lagoon. Our guidebook says this lagoon is famous for its mythical singing fish. Now some people say they can hear the voices of the dead. We stop at a government army camp. Hundreds of civilians were killed here. But it appears the army was better prepared than their neighbors. The captain explains that only 1 soldier died. We met a family who lived in this house along the lagoon. They lost their daughter, Odaya, there. Lojitha, the girl's aunt, is a social worker. Her bosses asked her to take some time off after the tsunami. Instead, she threw herself into working at refugee camps. We traveled with Lojitha to see how people living here are coping with disaster after years of war. The organization Lojitha works for is Sarvodia. It's one of the few organizations able to work with refugees in Tamil Tiger and government territories. On the road, we passed homes destroyed in the war, side by side with homes destroyed by the tsunami. We arrive in Ondachimadam, a small village at the southern edge of the province. There used to be a few hundred homes along the shore. This is what we find left. People who lived here worked as jewelers or fishermen. Now the only work is carrying the debris away. Many men aren't working at all and stand around to watch people cross the makeshift bridge where the road is washed away. Everyone has an explanation for why the waves hit. We met a Buddhist monk who said the tsunami was the wrath of the gods.
I am not able to give some money for them and all that. I can ask, don't be worried, having to all these are impermanent and temporary. That is what you do good and according to the good and bad comes after you.
Because we're in a conflict zone, people aren't free to move around without national identification cards. But these people lost their identification cards in the tsunami, along with everything else. Lojitha is in charge of helping people file for new cards. Until they get their identification, Tamils, suspected terrorists to the government, are essentially prisoners in the camps. Lojitha tells us these men, women, and children are the worst off, the ones that don't have friends or relatives nearby. They have nowhere to go. Lojitha took us to see the impact of the tsunami on people living in tiger territory. We meet a group of fishermen who live in a no-man's land along the border between the government and the tigers. No one's quite sure who's in control here. The government says it needs $3.5 billion to rebuild. But part of that money will have to be spent in territory controlled by the Tamil Tigers in the north and east. We stop at a washed-out bridge where the Tigers are running a ferry service. The Tigers are working with international organizations to coordinate relief efforts here. But the United Nations has documented cases of the Tigers recruiting tsunami orphans to serve as child soldiers. Sarvodia volunteers are trying to educate children in tiger territory about landmines. They fear the waves loosen some of the country's 1 million mines, and that children won't be able to recognize them or read warning signs. This man is dressed up like a human landmine to warn children to resist the temptation to play with them. Walking through flooded villages is dangerous. The fighting has cooled down since a 2002 ceasefire, but the mines remain. At the coast, we meet Kasumathi Thangamani. Up until 2 years ago, Kasumathi lived in a simple, small hut. After the ceasefire was signed, she had the chance to build a permanent home. Now it's gone.
අපනේ කියනවා මේ ටවුන් පතේ ඉන්න මිනිස්සු කොච්චර සතුටින් ඉන්නවා අපිට තමයි හැමදාම දෙයියෝ අපි ළඟ තරහයිද නැත්නම් අපේ පව්කාරයේද මේ අහනවලු.
Although Lojitha spends each day working with tsunami victims, she finds it harder to deal with her own family.
තාත්තා මේ දවස් 4 විතර මිඩ්නයිට් එකේ නින්ද වෙලාවට මේ වෙන සද්ද එක අහනවලු. මේ අම්මා අම්මා කියන වගේ මේ කැයින් කතා කරන ඇහුවා. ඊට පස්සේ
We leave Bataclo wondering whether people here will ever find a place safe from the war and safe from the waves. It seems like the outpouring of aid has given the Tamil Tigers and the Sinhalese government more to fight about. Back in Colombo, we make a final stop at Sarvodia's head office.
Hi,
We meet with Dr. A.T. Ariatna,
how are you, my dear?
the founder and executive director of Sarvodia, to ask him how long it will take to rebuild Sri Lanka.
It's very difficult to predict. It all depends on the way they can unite without any of these political, racial, religious and other differences. It all depends on how large-hearted and large-mindedness our people can be. But petty hearts, pettiness, small-mindedness, if we can overcome that, this country can be rebuilt.
In the weeks after we leave Sri Lanka, a top Tamil tiger is assassinated in Bataclo as he is returning from a tsunami relief meeting. Renewed violence will only mean more suffering for people in the East who've lost so much already.
How confident are you that politics, petty politics, won't get in the way of the reconstruction effort?
I am not that confident
Why not?
because of that petty-mindedness of politicians.